So that harness is definitely a pain in my tail. So we back at the junkyard, same one I got the front end for on the race car. Looks like they got rid of that car, that red donut car. Let's see what else we got in here. Now I shouldn't be doing it, but I'm in here looking for a fuel pump for mine. I'm not sure if the town car will work. I believe it will, but by that car being a 2009 flex fuel, I'm not sure, so I'm not even gonna mess with this right here. Okay, so I stumbled up on this older model civilian Crown Vic. Corner lights look brand new. Man, the seats, look at the seats in there. And this is the true leather seats. If you don't have seats that look like this in your Crown Victoria, then you don't have true leather seats. Most likely you had a vinyl. But we didn't come here for that. Came here for a fuel pump. So we're gonna go ahead and leave, head to the next junkyard. Hopefully they have what I'm looking for. Real quick, if anybody ever wondered what kind of center caps I had on my Crown Vic, this is where they came from. This is a Ford Explorer. They fit right on the Crown Vics. And I only seen one other Crown Victoria with those center caps on. But we're gonna keep moving, head to the next junkyard. Fellow Crown Vic, looks to be a 2005. All right, so I lucked up. I actually was on the way to go to another junkyard down the street. I remembered there was one pretty much across the street from the one that I was at. Went in there, asked the dude if they had a fuel pump for me. He said, yeah, they already got it pulled. Saved me a lot of time, and it was a great price, so we're gonna go ahead and get that and figure out how to put it on and see if that's actually the problem with mine. Meanwhile, I'm gonna show y'all some center caps that they got. Those are the ones that I just got from off the Ford Explorer. I actually got my original ones from my car from here. So, yep. Worked out good. Here she is. We're gonna go ahead and head back and see if we could get this bad boy in there.
Turn it up.
So here we are, once again on scene with the infamous Crown Victoria. It's still looking rough. We're gonna go ahead and start getting this fuel pump situated. Okay, so got the car jacked up on the passenger side, but before I even do anything, I already know that the fuel pump is probably most likely the cause, because I already checked what I'm about to tell y'all. But before anything, this is what you want to do. All right, you want to look under the dashboard, under the driver's side, and the fourth fuse from the top left, not including that one right there, because that ain't nothing. So don't include that. Be smart about this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I painted it with Sharpie to identify it easier. If that checks out, you want to go ahead and go under the hood and look at your power distribution block. Now you're gonna have a couple things under here that might go bad. You got your relay right here. I labeled mine fuel pump. You have the diode, and you also have a 20 amp fuse. As you can see, I have FP on that. Now I already checked all three. You want to go ahead, go to the back of the car, go to the trunk. Inside the trunk, on the left side, behind this carpet, I pulled mine down, but you're gonna have your inertia switch. I already pressed mine, but that's also maybe a good idea to be the first thing you want to do, is make sure that that ain't flipped. Now if your inertia switch ain't flipped, or if it, in working order, what you can do is disconnect the harness. Take a wire and jump it. That'll bypass the inertia switch for now. You don't want to leave it like that, but for diagnostic purposes, it's okay to do that. So we're gonna go ahead and try that. That's one thing I didn't try. We're gonna do that right now. All right, I have the wire hooked into the inertia switch harness to bypass it. And now we're gonna try and turn the car on and see if the fuel pump cuts on. And if it don't, then we know that most likely we have a faulty fuel pump. All right, sitting in the car, key in, turn the switch on, nothing. So after all that checks out, fuel pump still ain't cutting on. So now we're gonna go and replace it, because most likely we have a faulty fuel pump, and hopefully it's not anything electrical, but we're gonna go ahead and do that. Like I said, with the car jacked up, make sure you use jack stands. Safety first. Car jacked up, we're gonna go ahead and crawl under and see what we got to work with. All right, once you're under the car, you're gonna see the differential box, and basically right above that is gonna be your fuel pump. You're gonna have a few harnesses to disconnect and a few bolts. First thing we're gonna do is start disconnecting these harnesses. Starting with this harness right up top. Can you see it? All right, that one right there. What I ended up doing was taking my pick tool and inserting it in the back of the harness on the gray side, and getting it to go over top of that release. While applying pressure on that, at the same time I was using a flathead screwdriver to pry up against the harness to back it off, and that worked with ease. So that's the way to do it. Works like a charm. Tackling the next harness, we're gonna use our pick tool again. Now this one is this harness is going to be a little tricky also. It's actually sitting right where that hole at, right where that light is right there. It's actually sitting like right behind that metal plate. So I'm gonna try to put my pick tool in the slot again. This time I'm gonna just try to pull it by hand and see if it disconnects. I tried to pull it down, but it's holding on with one of those clips, and I'm afraid that I'll break the actual harness if I pry on it too hard, just trying to get the clip to release off the frame. So I'm gonna use the pick tool and pull it with my hand and see how that works. So that harness is definitely a pain in my tail. What I ended up doing was just getting aggravated, and I ended up breaking that clip that holds it on the frame. Luckily I ain't break nothing else, so now it's that much easier to unhook that harness and move on to the next step. I'm telling you, without pain, joy wouldn't feel so good. Now that we have that disconnected, only thing that's left to do is to disconnect the fuel line and remove the remaining 8mm bolts. Now when disconnecting the fuel line, you're gonna need a set of fuel line and AC quick disconnect tools. The size that you're gonna need is gonna be a 3/8. plastic or metal work. With the fuel line disconnected, and be advised, for those who ain't got common sense, it is a fuel line. It does have fuel in it, so be prepared to get a little bit fuel on you. Well, with that disconnected, we can go ahead and remove the remaining 8mm bolts. After draining the bottom bolts to the fuel pump, it's a good idea to let the excess fuel drain into a pan. I just grabbed anything that I had around. After that, finish removing the rest of the fuel pump bolts, and you can pull the fuel pump out. Now, we will have to cut that harness because it does go around the mount for the tank, so we're gonna have to cut that and just reroute the new fuel pump once we install it. Upon removal, make sure that the gasket came off and there's nothing obstructing you from putting the new fuel pump in. Make sure to ensure that there won't be any leaks. So we're gonna go ahead and install a new fuel pump. Hand torque all bolts on the fuel pump first for proper alignment. After properly aligned, then you can start torquing it down. Be sure to torque down in a crosshatch pattern as if you were tightening down lug nuts. You want the fuel pump to go down evenly, and you don't want any leaks. That wouldn't be good. Your gas mileage would be robbed completely. Once all 8mm bolts on the fuel pump are torqued down, you can then connect the fuel hose and also rerun and connect your harnesses. With everything back assembled except for the wheel, still on jack stands, we're going to prime it and see if she works. Alright, man, after further review of the play, it still don't want to start. So I'm thinking it's going to be an ECU problem, computer problem, somewhere along the lines of that. I have no idea, man. That's the old fuel pump. I jumped that and that actually worked. That turned on, but I have no idea why the fuel pump is not cutting on. Okay. So back to the drawing board. And if anybody know why the fuel pump would not cut on, other than everything else I checked the fuses, diodes, relays, maybe fuel pressure regulator. I have no idea, or maybe a faulty switch in the back. I don't know, man. Back to the drawing board. I'm gonna do some little research tonight. Let me know what y'all think. Dirt and Grease out.